Okay, so it is Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. This is my first recording that I'm making for this new year. I have decided that I would like to read the 26 July 1963 report of inspection of MKUltra for the Director of Central Intelligence. So this is the Inspector General's report focused on Project MKUltra. I got this copy from George Washington University. I think it's called, I forget what the name of it, but they have an intelligence archive there, and I think it's a cleaner copy than I've found in other places. Like the CIA probably has this on their reading library. And then I made it scannable as OCR, and I was hoping to get a text version of this, but it's dirty. This version is the cleanest version I could find, but it still has issues, and it also is hard to distinguish where redactions are versus where it's just grime when I try to copy and paste from text. So I decided that the best thing would be to try to actually read it out loud, and then that might be helpful for, you know, another way to translate from vocals to text. And the other thing, so the reason why I want to look closely at this document is, there's a few reasons. A big one is that this is the only document that still exists that I know of that describes MKDELTA in some depth. I mean, I wouldn't really call it in depth, but I mean more than just a sentence. Also, I suspect that it seems like there was a shift that happened after this report came out. They originally were saying that MKUltra ended after this report came out, and then they kind of backtracked on that and said maybe it went on for another 10 years. And I mean, from what I can tell, there were a number of different mind control or behavior control programs that were running. I mean, the CIA at this time was probably doing the most by far, but the Army was doing some things. And also the CIA in this Project MKUltra was working with this George Hunter White, who by day was a Federal Bureau of Narcotics agent. So that was a precursor, I guess, to the DEA. So more in the federal law enforcement vein as opposed to intelligence espionage. And I haven't really read this closely at all yet. So that's one of the things I want to just kind of accomplish. But also, in skimming through it, I had the sense that there was an interfacing of federal law enforcement oriented agencies with the CIA. So that was also true, I think, of the Army and the CIA with things like MK Naomi, where Frank Olson was connected. And I have the sense that certain operations within the United States were shifted increasingly to the FBI from the CIA. And earlier I thought that maybe that happened after the Church Committee in the mid-70s. But I'm wondering now if it might have been around this time after the Inspector General report came out. So maybe this will, and another thing I want to understand from reading this, I kind of want to try to see if I can figure out how much the Office of Inspector General really knew what was going on with MKUltra, even after doing this inspection and report, whether the Inspector General was hiding things. Well, they must have been hiding things about it still, because it seems like everybody was. But to what extent they were hiding things versus did they really fully understand what was going on? That's always kind of an enduring question with the situation. Okay, so here we go. When was this declassified? This is approved for release April 3rd, 2019, so not that long ago. We're now in January 2026. So that's interesting. I wonder if it was out there or not before that. Because this certainly would have been of interest to me like in 2017. But anyway, here we go. We got it now. Okay, so Memorandum for Director of Central Intelligence. Subject Report of Inspection of MKUltra, 26 July 1963. 1. In connection with our survey... Oh, I have to... Before I get into this. Okay, what is DD/P? I always have to look this up because this is important to MKDELTA. I have to look it up right now because I can't remember. R&D stands for Research and Development. That's still, but DDP I think might be a CIA specific thing. Here it says delivered duty paid, and although that's not exact, I don't think that's exactly what it means. Maybe that is alluding to that. It can also refer to Diamond Dallas Page, a wrestler. That's funny. But it makes me remember and realize DDP, it meant deployment. But let me see if I can get a more exact definition. Deputy Director for Plans. The office held this name from 1952 to 1973 and was the primary branch responsible for the agency's clandestine operations, including covert action and the recruitment of foreign agents. So let me just understand this a little better. Pre-1952, the functions were primarily split between the Office of Special Operations, OSO, which focused on intelligence collection, espionage, and the Office of Policy Coordination, OPC, which handled covert actions. August 1st, 1952, the OSO and OPC were officially merged and consolidated into a single organization named Deputy Directorate of Plans, DDP. But they have a DD/P, which is kind of weird. Why not just DDP? So it almost feels coded like DD, doors, and P stands for... I mean, P to me, 16th letter of the alphabet, that's the tower as destruction. To reduce rivalry and operational overlap. So this is overlap between Office of Special Operations, OSO, Intelligence Collection, Espionage, and Covert Actions. So collection and actions. So both of these are deployment sort of things. It's not research. It's not research and development. It's not R&D. It's actually putting something into a plan into operation. The name plans was intended to disguise the true function of the directorate. The DDP was named the Directorate of Operations, DO, and the title of its head became the Directory of Deputy Director of Operations, DDO, and that was March 1st, 1973. 2005 to 15, it was briefly known as the National Clandestine Service, NCS, and 2015 to present, it was renamed back to Directorate of Operations, DO, which is its current designation. It remains the clandestine arm of the CIA responsible for human intelligence collection and covert action activities. Yes. So for further, so that's exactly what's going on. And I mean, it is important to Delta because Delta is deployment of Project MKUltra. You know, what was learned in the research and experimentation in Project MKUltra. So my hypothesis is that we are in an MKDELTA phase right now, and we have been for some time. But what is the goal of MKDELTA? And I mean, I have some ideas about what it is. And does it have just one goal, or is it also potentially a game in which two sides are battling each other? Because it certainly does seem like it's been presented that way. Okay, so DDP is basically plans for deployment and actions and activities and things like that. In both intelligence collection and actions. All right. So in connection with our survey of Technical Services Division, DDP, it was DDP. Was the TSD and the DDP the same? No, I don't think so. I don't know, but it's a weird phrasing. It was deemed advisable to prepare the report of the MKUltra program in one copy only in view of its unusual sensitivity. They probably never intended this to be declassified. 2, this report is forwarded herewith. 3, the MKUltra activity is concerned with the research and development of chemical, biological, and radiological materials capable of employment in clandestine operations to control human behavior. The end products of such research are subject to very strict controls, including a requirement for the personnel approval of the Deputy Director plans. Oh, here it says right there. Okay, Deputy Director plans. So deployment. For any operational use made of these end products. The cryptonym MKUltra encompasses the research and development (R&D) phase, and a second cryptonym MKDELTA denotes the DDP, Deputy Director Plans, deployment system for control of the operational employment of such materials. The provisions of the MKUltra authority also cover blank, so some redacted stuff. The administration and control of this latter activity were found to be generally satisfactory and are discussed in greater detail in the main body of the report on the TSD. TSD stands for Technical Services Division, and they were the ones who were running Project MKUltra. And I think that Sidney Gottlieb was the leader of TSD. 5. MKUltra was authorized by then Director of Central Intelligence, Mr. Alan W. Dulles, in 1953. The TSD was assigned responsibility thereby to employ a portion of its R&D budget, eventually set at 20% for research and behavioral materials and blank, under purely, I'll say redacted, under purely internal and compartmented controls. Further details are provided in paragraph 3 of the attached report. Normal procedures for project approval, funding, and accounting were waived. However, special arrangements for audit of expenditures have been evolved in subsequent years. 6. The scope of MKUltra is comprehensive and ranges from the search for and procurement of botanical and chemical substances through programs for their analysis in scientific laboratories to progressive testing for effect on animals and human beings. The testing on individuals begins under laboratory conditions, employing every safeguard, and progresses gradually to more and more realistic operational simulations. The program requires and obtains the services of a number of highly specialized authorities in many fields of the natural sciences. 7. The concepts involved in manipulating human behavior are found by many people both within and outside the agency to be distasteful and unethical. There is considerable evidence that opposition intelligence services are active and highly proficient in this field. The experience of TSD to date indicates that both the research and the employment of the materials are expensive and often unpredictable in results. Nevertheless, there have been major accomplishments both in research and operational employment. 8. The principal conclusions of the inspection are that the structure and operational controls over this activity need strengthening. Improvements are needed in the administration of the research projects, and some of the testing of substances under simulated operational conditions was judged to involve excessive risk to the agency. 9. Attached for the signature of the Deputy Director of Central Intelligence is a memorandum transmitting the report to the Deputy Director of Plans, requesting a summary of action taken or comments on the recommendations contained therein. J.S. Earman, Inspector General. Attachments as stated.